You've heard it before, right? The idea that you can literally think your way to being rich or healthy or happy. It's an idea that pops up everywhere, from viral TikTok trends to Sunday morning sermons. The basic premise is always the same, that our minds, our thoughts, even the words we speak, have this incredible power to actually shape the world around us. It's a really powerful concept, and it has a fascinating and kind of complicated history. So, let's dig in.
So in today's wellness world, the cool term for this is manifesting. The core idea is pretty straightforward. If you focus your thoughts and keep that positive mindset, you can actually attract your goals and make them real. It's usually presented as a kind of psychological tool, right? A way to harness the power of your own mind to get tangible results.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Look at how closely that mirrors a huge stream within certain faith movements, often called positive confession or word of faith. The belief here is that faith isn't just a feeling, it's a force. And the words you speak, they release that force to create supernatural results. You see the common thread, right? It's all about speaking something into existence.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to trace the incredible journey of this one idea. We'll start with its modern promise, then we're going to travel way back to a 19th century healer and even deeper into ancient philosophy. We'll see how it branched out into modern faith and even folk traditions. We'll look at all the controversies, and then finally, we'll ask the big question: why does this idea have such a powerful, lasting grip on us?
All right, so we've got this modern promise, whether you call it manifesting or positive confession. The core idea is exactly the same, that you, an individual, can use this great natural force of your own mind to completely transform your reality. But to really get how we got here, we've got to go back.
So, where did this modern version really come from? Well, to find its surprisingly recent origin, we need to jump back to the 1800s, and we need to meet a really fascinating guy, a clockmaker from New England, who ended up becoming a revolutionary healer.
See, this clockmaker was basically the father of a movement called New Thought, and New Thought for its time was completely radical. It said that reality isn't primarily physical, it's spiritual, it's mental. And that means our physical world, including our own bodies, is just a direct reflection of what's going on in our minds.
And this is the man himself, Phineas Parkhurst Quimby. His argument was a bombshell. Sickness wasn't a physical problem at all. He called it an error in thinking, just a false belief stuck in the mind. So the cure wasn't some pill or potion. The cure was the truth. You just had to correct that mental error. This was, for him, the ultimate demonstration of mental power over the physical body.
But as groundbreaking as Quimby's ideas felt, they didn't just appear out of nowhere. They were actually growing in philosophical soil that's thousands of years old. They took root in an ancient blueprint for a universe that is, fundamentally, mental.
This takes us to Hermetic philosophy, an ancient tradition that's summarized in a text called the Kybalion. Its number one most important principle is mentalism. The idea is that everything you see, touch, and experience, the entire universe, is just a mental creation. It's all being held in the mind of a divine consciousness that they called the All.
Okay, so the next logical step in this philosophy is the principle of vibration. It basically says nothing is still, everything is moving. Everything is vibrating at its own frequency. So think about it. If the universe is mental and everything in it vibrates, then our thoughts, which are also just forms of mental vibration, should, in theory, be able to influence the very fabric of that mental universe.
So you have this ancient idea of a mental universe. It gets a big comeback in the 19th century with New Thought. And from there, wow, it just splinters and evolves and starts influencing all sorts of different modern movements, with each one kind of adapting that core concept to fit its own worldview.
One of the biggest branches grew when a minister named E.W. Kenyon got really into New Thought's mind science. He took these metaphysical ideas and blended them with Pentecostal Christianity, and in doing so, he created a whole new theology. And this was later made super popular by his students like Kenneth Hagin, becoming the Word of Faith movement we know today, the one that teaches faith is a tangible force you release with your words to create your reality.
But this idea of influencing reality didn't just stick to formal religion. It also showed up in folk traditions like hoodoo, which took a much more, let's say, hands-on approach to the same goal. Instead of just relying on pure thought or faith, hoodoo uses physical things, candles, herbs, personal items, in rituals that are designed to manifest very specific outcomes, from finding love to, even causing harm.
Well, as you can probably guess, the idea that humans can just speak their own reality into existence has caused a ton of controversy. These movements have faced some really sharp criticism, from theological, ethical, and scientific points of view. So let's take a look at the other side of the coin.
From a mainstream Christian perspective, teachings like the Word of Faith and the Prosperity Gospel are often seen as straight-up heresy. Critics argue that they totally distort core doctrines because they shift the focus away from faith in God and onto faith in your own faith or your own words. The argument is that it's like a counterfeit. It looks just enough like the real thing to be incredibly dangerous.
Now this is a really fascinating breakdown. On one side, you have prosperity theology, a direct descendant of these ideas, which teaches that God provides things for our personal enrichment. It's very transactional. But then you look at traditional Christian stewardship, which says God provides resources for us to manage for His purposes. It's relational, not transactional. And it even sees wealth as something that could be a spiritual danger. It's a total clash of worldviews.
But what if there's a way to explain all this that doesn't involve anything supernatural? Well, that's where modern science steps in. Cognitive science basically sees the mind as a super powerful computer. From this angle, manifesting doesn't actually change the outside world directly. What it does is reprogram your own internal software, your focus, your beliefs. And when you change your focus, you change your actions, and that's what ultimately changes your results.
So we've gone from ancient mysticism all the way to modern science, and we've seen this one single powerful idea just morph and adapt through all of history. But what is it about this idea? What makes it so incredibly resilient and so appealing to so many different people across so many eras?
I mean, let's just recap this wild journey real quick. It starts way back with the ancient Hermetic idea of a mental universe. Then it gets reborn in the 1860s with Quimby and his mind cure. In the early 1900s, it gets a Christian makeover by Kenyon, which leads to this global word of faith movement. And now today, it's been secularized into manifesting, a totally mainstream wellness practice. It's the same core idea, just wearing the language of its time.
So we're left with a pretty profound question. This enduring belief that we can create our own reality. Is it a timeless spiritual law that we can actually tap into? Is it a dangerous distortion of what real faith is supposed to be? Or is it maybe something even more fundamental? Just the ultimate expression of our deep human hope for a little agency, a little control, in a world that so often feels completely chaotic? That is the question.